Welcome to Being at Home with George. I'm excited to be here, and I'd love to begin the way we normally begin, which is to say yes, embrace whatever comes up, negative, positive, neutral. It doesn't matter. The idea is to say yes to it, to embrace it, and then generate the hope so that I'm able to create space between stimulus and response. And in that space, I have the freedom and power to choose, especially to choose my mood. I'm talking to you today from not so sunny California. As a matter of fact, I'm in California. I've been here maybe 10 days so far. And it's interesting because I come out here occasionally to do work. And on this particular trip, I knew I was going to be here at least 9 days. I felt conflicted about coming because there was so much going on that I didn't feel like I had the bandwidth to actually come out here and do what I was supposed to do. But it's not so simple. It's not black, it's not white, it's gray because I made commitments and there's people I needed to see. So it was a combination of business and pleasure. And so that conflict is interesting, just noticing that and still being able to make the choice to come. And so it's interesting because once I got here, I realized that I had forgot my glasses and I have bifocals and I use these glasses to see things near and far. And what I have on now is my reading glasses. So they're good for short distance, but not for long distance. And so that had an impact on this conference I was attending where I was seeing everything blurred. And it's very interesting when you see things blurred. There's not a sense of certainty or confidence from that, but I could turn around and look at a screen that had the information. So that was the first thing, feeling conflicted, forgot my glasses, which is huge. And I forgot my meds. I take once a week and I forgot the meds. So I had to go through all of the machinations of getting a prescription out of state and going through the whole thing, being a new year and having to deal with out of pocket costs, whatever. But I had to go through that. And this is what happens sometimes when you're on the road. Stuff happens or it happens. And then on top of that, I got sick. I ended up getting COVID-19. Don't know how I got it. I usually wear a mask, and nobody else seems to have gotten it in the conference. So that was challenging. So that put me on my back. And so that I had to extend my stay for an extra 3 days and, get the medication and go through all of that stuff. And so I had to change hotels anyway. So when I changed the hotel and went to the new hotel, as I'm moving my luggage, I have a brand new suitcase and the wheel shattered on it. So it seems like whatever was going to happen was going to happen. It reminds me of that old Dr. John song. I was in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. I was in the right space, but it must have been the wrong line. And so this stuff is happening, but in spite of that, things are working out the way they're supposed to. And I'm reminded of the research that says that 90% of our long-term happiness is predicated on how our brain and nervous systems interpret our experience. And so as we talk about here, we say yes to it, embrace all of that stuff, generate the hope, and make choices that are in alignment with this idea of it's not that circumstances create the mood creates circumstances. And so I have the choice to choose to relate to things in ways where I turn roadblocks into stepping stones. I look for what's the lesson. The stuff works out. It always works out. It's just my attitude to just say yes to it and then choose wisely and reflect on experience and ask myself, what's the lesson here? So I can interpret some of these things, but one of the things I can interpret in terms of getting COVID, Richard Pryor, the comedian, he would take something like this and make a joke out of it and say, yeah, just imagine I had to get COVID just to slow down. I'm moving too fast. There's too much going on. And so to be able to deal with that, being on the other side of that, being able to get everything I needed, I could extend my hotel, I could change my plane ticket, I could change the rental car, I could hold the mail and my pickup from the airport, all of that stuff. And so it's really saying that the whole catastrophe is part of living, that things are going to happen. And it's up to me to choose my mood. So my mood creates the circumstances, not the circumstances create the mood. And I choose life. I choose say yes and to learn from it and to stay happy. And 90% of my long-term happiness is predicated on not that these things happen, but my interpretation of them. So I choose to see them as opportunities to say yes to life, to generate the hope, and to keep choosing wisely and choose life.